Hey, what's up guys, it's Unleashed here. Today, we're back with another video on Sonic Prime. So yeah, yesterday batch 1 of season 1 of Sonic Prime dropped, and yeah, I binge watched it yesterday. It took me about 4 hours or something like that because the episodes were about 43 minutes for the first episode, and then for the rest of them, about 25 I'd say. So yeah, overall some really good length with this show. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the show so far, obviously for batch 1. I can't really do a full review for it because I can't really use footage, stuff like that, because obviously it's a Netflix TV show, gonna get copyright claim and everything like that. So yeah, and then obviously this is only batch 1 of season 1, so we got 60 more episodes to go yet, so a long way to go. And obviously this should be a given, but there's gonna be spoilers in this review right here, so just beware. If you haven't seen the show and are going to it blind, then obviously you don't watch this video, come back to it later maybe, I don't know. Now before we start, just gonna say this, my opinions right now could change as we get more batches of episodes, because obviously things can change, whether that be for the positive or the negative, so just beware right now. But yeah, no point wasting any more time. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's review batch 1 of season 1 of Sonic Prime. So to begin with, obviously this is a TV show, so we're going to start with the story. So far, not gonna lie, it's actually pretty interesting. The great thing about this being a TV show is that they can actually flesh the story out a lot more now compared to a game or something like that. And obviously having that in mind, that means they can do a lot more critiquing here, because obviously it's a TV show now. We can't just say, oh, but the gameplay is good, so the story doesn't really matter, because obviously it's a TV show. The story is the most important part of it. That's why we watch the TV shows, for story. It's not the most complicated story in the world. It's basically just a regular Shadowverse story with a bit of Sonic elements in there, but still, I'm always intrigued to see what happens next, obviously, and then seeing the personalities for the different versions of the characters. The most interesting things to me throughout this show were what was going to happen to Shadow while being stuck in the void, and how the story would end because of the different shot spaces and the Paradox Prism. Overall, it's not a bad story so far. There's a lot to be interested in here, which is very good. It's not like Sonic Boom, where each of the episodes are kind of self-contained, there's no real continuity. Obviously, each episode carries on because more of a Sonic X type of show, really, honestly, compared to Sonic Boom, which is good. Well, I do like Boom's comedy aspect to it. I do kind of prefer some more Sonic X type of things, obviously, with a more branching story throughout the entire show, rather than having a separate story every single episode, because that means you can flesh things out a lot more, which is what Prime does, so that's very good. Now, as expected, the story isn't perfect because there are a couple of issues here. For starters, some of the origins of the characters in the shot spaces feel kinda stupid and underwhelming at times, such as Thorn Roses. She suddenly starts getting angry at her friends out of nowhere, and it just seems kinda weird the way they portrayed it in the show, because she just goes from a happy expression straight to like an angry expression immediately. Like, it just felt kind of stupid. And then with Knuckles the Dread, he just never goes to the lighthouse ever again because he crashed his ship once, and the way he says that gem just brings a lot of bad luck and bad things happen with it. Made it sound like it happened a lot of times, and no, it was just once, so that felt kind of underwhelming. But gonna be honest with you right now, Nine's backstory is honestly really solid and definitely the best one. Now then, people are gonna love this, but there are a lot of flashbacks in this show. A lot of them. Now, some of these flashbacks do have a purpose, giving some context to things and introducing characters and fleshing things out a lot more. Some of them I don't mind. But then we have other ones where I think they just drag on a bit too long, they feel too cluttered, or don't make sense to be there in the first place. I think one that I just felt like didn't make any sense was the fact that Knuckles sprite animation one, I don't really understand why that was there, because not only did it feel kind of out of place, but it kind of retconned some stuff there. For example, Knuckles calling Eggman there instead of Robotnik, because it happened before he actually got the name Eggman. And then, yeah, I don't know, man, it's just kind of weird. And then the flashbacks get really annoying. They keep showing the same footage over and over again. Like, God, you don't have to keep doing it, man. It gets quite annoying sometimes, and quite annoying. Now, in terms of the tone of the story, honestly, there's a pretty perfect balance between comedy and action scenes, which is something that Sonic Boom, for example, didn't do all that great. It was more comedy than action sometimes. Okay, not sometimes, a lot of times. But thankfully, there's a really good balance in Sonic Prime. The action scenes can last for long periods of time, and I find that pretty great. I mean, it's a Sonic show after all. Sonic's about action, not necessarily comedy, unless we talk about the 2010s, which we're not. So yeah, as a whole, Prime's tone and everything, really solid, man, really solid. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for the story right now. So yeah, like I said earlier, overall, pretty interesting, not a bad story, but not amazing either. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, honestly, pretty happy with it. Now then, for the writing. Now, same like the story here, it's not amazing, but it's not horrible either. In terms of the comedy aspect of this show, the jokes do hit every now and then. It's not as funny as Boom, which honestly, it doesn't really need to be, because it's kind of a different type of show. It's more action and story based than a comedy based like Boom is. Why the hell did I say Boom? Boom is, that's what I was trying to say. Now, as expected, there are some cringy moments in the show that just make you go, okay, okay. And yeah, it is to be expected because it is a kid's show, so yeah, there's gonna be some cringe moments in there. But thankfully, when the show needs to take itself seriously, it succeeds. Same with when there's a heartfelt and charming moment. They don't ruin the scene with a joke or something like that. They try to give each scene the perfect tone, and it's great to see. It's not like things like Forces and Lost World where there's a serious moment there, but it either lasts too short or they kind of forget about it afterwards. It's not like that at all. They're in really well in Sonic Prime, which is very good to see. Very good to see. Now overall, characterization is pretty solid in Sonic Prime. Pretty solid. Except for Sonic. If you look at everybody except for Sonic, it's honestly pretty solid, man. Pretty solid. I mean, they even did Shadow pretty well in this show. It's not like he is in Boom or something like that, where he's just an overly Hedgehog who just has no reasons at all for fighting Sonic. He actually tries to confront Sonic about his foolish actions in this show, because he's being way too reckless, obviously, causing nearly the destruction of the world. And even though he is fighting, it is understandable, especially with how Sonic acts in this show, and don't worry, we're going to get to that in a little bit. Now, for all the other characters, Tails, Amy, pretty much what you'd expect, honestly. Now, Knuckles, I don't know how I feel about Knuckles, honestly. I mean, his voice, and we'll talk about that a bit later, but yeah, Knuckles, I don't know, man. I mean, coming from the movie and then his Frontiers, it just feels a bit weird, especially with how his friendship is with Sonic. Sonic kind of just throws a lot of shit towards Knuckles, and to me, it seems like he doesn't really consider him that much of a friend, per se. More so just a person that he knows, I guess. And while that is fine for like a couple times here and there, it's just constant throughout the entire show. Sonic's like, oh, where's Tails? Amy? Heck, I'll even take Knuckles at this point. Like, I don't really like that. I mean, he says it once and says it again. It just kind of gets a bit old and strange, especially when Knuckles is supposed to be a friend of Sonic's, not really a enemy or like Shadow, like just a person that he knows or something like that. So I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about Knuckles. I mean, Tails, Amy, obviously, like I said already, they're pretty alright, pretty much what you'd expect. And then Eggman's pretty solid overall, still a pretty good villain. Though in terms of Eggman, you have Orbot and Cubot, and obviously, for those of you who don't know, I actually do like Orbot and Cubot, but I don't know, something about them in this show just, I don't know, they seem like kind of stupider than usual. Like, especially Orbot. Orbot was not really a stupid character, honestly. He's more so kind of the person to correct Cubot and stuff like that, but no. He kind of seems to play along with Cubot's stupidity, so yeah, I find that pretty weird, not gonna lie. Now then, here's where things get, honestly, I might even say bad, and that is Sonic. With Sonic's character in Prime, they seem to have taken a lot of inspiration from Sonic in the movies. You know, in the movies, Sonic's a lot more childish and inexperienced, but in the movies, it makes a lot of sense because it's kind of an origin story for Sonic, but in Prime, it doesn't make any sense. Sonic is arrogant, annoying, obnoxious, stupid at times, childish, and while he does have his moments of compassion here and there, and does begin to learn from his mistakes, Sonic isn't really the type of character to act this way at all. According to the creators of the show, Sonic Prime apparently takes into account the canon of the main series from the game, so why does Sonic act like this? Sonic has had lots of experience from his many adventures, and most of all, values his friends and knows he isn't always the one to come out on top. Prime does so much wrong with Sonic's character that I genuinely just dislike him at points. Now honestly, overall, I didn't really mind it. The thing that just ruins it, honestly, is just the fact that they say it's canon. I could accept this being a brand new take on Sonic, sure, but if you're gonna say that it's canon, that's where my issues rise, because that means you're gonna have to take into account all the main series Sonic games, and obviously, that won't really help Prime's case at all, because, yeah, it kind of retcons and does a lot of stupid stuff, honestly, so if they just stop saying that Prime was canon to the main series and stuff like that, then I'd be fine with it, honestly, I'd be fine with it, but because they said that it's canon, that's why I have a problem with it. I mean, come on. I like Sonic in the movies, even though it's not exactly the Sonic that I know, because it's a different take on Sonic. It's obviously not canon to the games. But with Prime, the way they say that it is canon to the games, it just makes it feel a lot more weird than it should. Now, if there's one scene in Sonic Prime with Sonic that I absolutely just hate, it has to be that palm tree flashback. Sonic's comment about his friends being too sentimental was the most un-Sonic thing to come out of his mouth. Like, my god, that was actually awful. I hate that scene. Like, I guess Sonic isn't the most sentimental of characters, but he was never one to just flat out disregard the care that his friends have for him, especially stuff like this. And if you didn't play it along, he at least laughed it off or something like that, but here he just says, no, that's a bit too sentimental. Like, I don't know, man. I really hate that scene, man. I hate that. Sonic in Prime honestly just feels like Shadow in Boom, a total abomination of his character, with hints of that original goodness in there. Now, Sonic in Prime wasn't as bad as Shadow in Boom, but my god, it still was not great. I will say, though, that Sonic does get better as the show goes on, so I'm hoping that keeps picking up as the season goes on, but right now, not really a huge fan of this Sonic. Not at all. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say on the writing and the character for these characters. That sounds a bit weird now saying it aloud, but yeah. Overall, it's great for the most part, but Sonic honestly just kind of bogs it down like a lot, especially it's supposed to be a Sonic TV show and then the main character is it himself. Like it's not horrible, but it's still not Sonic. The main problem here is that they said it's canon. If they didn't say this show was canon, then it'd be all good and dandy, but because they said it's canon, that's where my problems arise here, man. Like, my god. Just one phrase can change a lot, man. Just a singular phrase. But now we shall move on to the new characters introduced into the show. Well, I say new characters, but it's just basically new versions of these characters. I'll start off by saying that, Dr. Babbles is the worst character in the show. Like, oh my god. His cry is so goddamn annoying. Like, why did they create a baby Eggman, man? Like, I hate Dr. Babbles, man. But apart from Dr. Babbles, I find the rest of the Chaos Council pretty entertaining, honestly. Seeing a bunch of Eggmen with different personalities but still evil is kind of entertaining, honestly. Seeing them bounce off each other with different personalities and stuff like that. And the fact that they just overtaken the entirety of Green Hill as well. Like, that was pretty cool, man. Seeing all that stuff with the new Eggman Empire, stuff like that, that was really cool. I really liked that. It's what Sonic Forces could have been and what the adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog is. I mean, Amy is literally a robot. Like, seriously, she's a robot with a flicky insider too. Like, that is cool, man. That is really cool. On the topic of Cyborg Amy, though, I actually find it really interesting that Amy is actually a villain now. I thought that maybe it would make, like, Knuckles a villain or something like that, maybe Rouge, but no, they chose Amy, and that is a really great choice, honestly. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, Amy is somebody that usually cares about Sonic a lot, and then for them to go ahead and turn into a villain now who's against Sonic, that is dope, man. That is dope. Now then, for the character of 9, essentially the alternate version of Tails, I absolutely love this character. Not even gonna lie. He's my favourite character from the show right now. My favourite out of the entire cast. His backstory, the fact that he has those extra tails, that looks really sick, by the way. Love Tails as design in the alternate universe, 9's design even. And also, even though he is still kind of friendly towards Sonic, his personality is completely different now. I mean, he's still a genius and stuff like that, but man, he's not the same way as the original Tails did. I mean, he has whiners for starters, and my god. Kind of awesome to see an edgy Tails, sort of. Like, my god, so cool. As for the other alternate version of the characters, I didn't find them all that interesting, to be honest with you. I mean, honestly, Rebel Rouge and then Nux, as it's called in the alternate universe, those are alright, probably the best versions of those characters. But then when it comes to the Pirate universe and then the Jungle universe, I didn't find them all that interesting because it does kind of get old a bit because it is just the same character but with a different personality. And it's kind of cool the first time, but when you keep doing it over and over again, yeah, it starts to get a bit old. And especially when you spend more screen time with the ones on the first dimension that we first go to, fleshing those characters out a lot more, giving more screen time with Sonic. That makes them a lot more enjoyable to me because, yeah, we get to see a lot more of their story and stuff like that. And yeah, when it comes to the other universes, we don't spend too long there, honestly. And yeah, once again, it's just another version of that same character we've seen a bunch of times, just not as fleshed out as before. But I will say though, the way the new version of these characters act though, bounces really well off Sonic's new characters, so that makes Sonic a lot more bearable, honestly. So in general, new characters, a lot of them are pretty cool, man. A lot are pretty cool. 9's a highlight. Cyborg Amy, once again, really interesting. Amy be evil now, and then Rebel Rouge. Honestly, I don't find Rouge and Nux to be that different in the alternate universe with the overtaken Eggman and stuff like that. I don't find them too different. It is that they don't know or trust Sonic all that much. But yeah, other dimensions of the characters are just alright, I guess. I find it funny that Tails was actually like a pet or something now. Like a what's it called? Primal Tails or something? I don't even know. I don't think they got him a name actually. But yeah, that Primal Tails is actually pretty interesting. Actually, Big. I need to talk about Big. Big, I feel like he doesn't really contribute much to the show, honestly. I mean, he's there. He says a few lines here and there, but I don't know. I feel like the show would be that different without Big there, to be honest with you. But then again, Big never really was like a massive character in all the games and stuff like that. So having him here just as a kind of insignificant character, I guess it's alright, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have Big there than not have him there, so that's something. But yeah, just something I thought about that. Right then, now for the animation, and overall, it is surprisingly good. The expressions for all the characters are fantastic. They actually animate the eyebrows though, which is to be expected. I mean, it is CGI after all, so yeah, it looks really good, man. Really good, really good. I mean, you got the squash and stretch in there too when the characters are moving, or when something gets punted into a wall. It just looks really good, man. And my god, it is just buttery smooth, man. Buttery smooth. It looked good in the trailers, but my god, just watching it in real time in the real episodes, it is just so damn smooth, man. So damn smooth. Honestly, in general, Sonic Prime is very visually pleasing to the eye. The environments look very nice, the effects look brilliant, and then that smooth animation is a cherry on top of it all. The highlight of the visuals and animation is definitely the action scenes. They are absolutely fantastic. It doesn't matter what the action entails, whether it's Sonic running, fighting robots, or dueling with Shadow. It is just pure brilliance, man. Pure brilliance. Love the action scenes in Sonic Prime. Now then, the voice acting in Sonic Prime. To be honest with you, While all the voices, they're definitely a different take on the characters for the most part, they are still really good. Though I found Knuckles a bit weird. It's not really bad, but it's a bit jarring. I don't know, his accent, it doesn't work for regular Knuckles, but for the dimensional Knuckles or the sharp space versions of him, it works a lot there. Very good there. But I don't know, Knuckles' voice in the regular world for Sonic, it doesn't really work, honestly. I do like Rouge, Tails, and Amy's voice, especially Rouge's. Rouge's, I don't know, man, they just made her sound like an actual character, not like how she did in, let's say, Team Sonic Racing. I won't say how, but yeah, it's a lot better than that, I will say. And then Tails and Amy, honestly, I like them. While they don't sound exactly the same as the game versions, still some pretty solid voices. Tails' voice actually works really well for 9 especially, works exceptionally well there. And then obviously Amy with Cyborg Amy works pretty well there too. Now the highlight of the voice acting in Sonic Prime has to go to Devin Macker's Sonic. Like, that is an amazing Sonic right there. Amazing. Absolutely love it. This is a great blend between Ryan and Roger, and it's just fantastic, man. But I don't really like Sonic's character in Sonic Prime. The voice work from Devin Mack, fantastic, man. Love Devin Macker's Sonic, man. Like, hire that man for the games, honestly. Like, straight up. Hire that man for the games. I mean, Eggman even sounds good too, even though it's not Mike Pollock, while I would have loved that, but still sounds pretty solid, man. Pretty solid. Kind of reminds me of the, you know, the Satyam and the Adventures of the Hedgehog Eggman voice. Kind of reminds me of that, unless I'm remembering wrong or something. But yeah, some pretty solid voice acting overall. Really good, man. Really good. Now then, because this is a video game TV show, let's talk about some references in here. Now then, to start off with the sound design for the references here, there are a lot of sounds from the games. You got the classic spring sound, you got the spikes. I think I even heard some of the Forces sirens in there. Now, while those might be stock sounds or something, I don't know. I just noticed that. You know the signs from Prison Hall in there? They're in Prime there, so that's pretty cool. Now, one of the best references in the show is honestly, Tails' passcode to his workshop is 1992, 1992, because Sonic 2, the game Tails originated from, released in 1992. I just found that really cool, man. Really, really cool. Love that, love that. And I think the same thing happens with Big 2, because in the worlds where Eggman took over, Big is set is in 1998, and obviously Big originated from SA1, which first released in 1998, so I think they did the same thing with Big there, so that's pretty cool. There was one joke about an orca in the pirate world, which actually made me smile like a lot. I think there was some sort of whale in the ocean, then Sonic goes, "Oh, I hope it's not an orca," and obviously that's pretty funny. I mean, the orca been chasing Sonic for God knows how long now. I mean, in SA1 or 6, like, yeah. What is up with orcas in the Sonic's world, man? Like, what is up with that, man? What is up with that? Right, the last thing we'll talk about here is obviously music in the TV show. Now, the soundtrack is alright, I suppose. It's alright. It's not necessarily something I listen to in my own time, but it sets the scenes really well. I like kind of the dubsteppy ones specifically. I think those fit really well with the scenes and stuff like that. Though some music sounds a bit weird. I think there was that one trumpet in that one slow-mo scene in the Eggman Took Over world. That sounded really weird. I don't know what happened with the trumpet there. It sounded kind of cheap or something. And now, some people don't really like the end credit scene for every episode, but honestly, I don't really mind it, honestly. I think it's alright. It's just alright, yeah. Now, it is a shame that there's no intro theme here, because like you got in the previous Sonic TV shows, Gotta Go Fast, and you got the one from the, I think it's either Satyam or Adventures on the Hedgehog, probably Satyam, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Then you got the Sonic Boom one, which is alright, I suppose. But yeah, the X one and the, which one it was, Satyam or the other one, those were iconic, man. Like, you hear people sing those songs all the time, but unfortunately, Prime doesn't have one, so that is a bit of a letdown. I mean, even if Booms wasn't that amazing, we still have something there, but with Sonic Prime, nothing there. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's a Netflix show, but even still, wouldn't it be cool to have one, man? Could have been pretty iconic if done well, but unfortunately not, I suppose. Anyways, that about it for my thoughts on Sonic Prime Batch 1 of Season 1 so far. So yeah, as a whole, I'd say Prime is good. I'm a bit mixed on a few aspects here and there, for example, Sonic's character, really not liking that so far. And then, I think there are a couple of issues with animation though, just thinking about it. Like, I do remember seeing like a floating tree at some point. Sometimes the lighting looks a bit weird on the characters' models and stuff like that. Don't know what was up with that, but yeah, as a whole, a solid TV show, We have a decent story to tell here now, and we got some good voice acting from Devin Mack especially. Love Devin Mack as Sonic, and yeah, in general, I don't know where I'd rank Prime just yet. It could be the best Sonic TV show, but yeah, I can't really say it right now because we haven't got the entirety of Season 1 just yet, just the first batch of episodes, so right now, probably say it's better than Boom. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think I like it better than Boom. Then, I don't think I like it better than Sonic X yet. Not necessarily X yet, but yeah, I think I like X better. And then, yeah, I like it better than Underground. Underground was just weird. And then I've already seen much of Sat TM or Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, so I can't really comment on that too much. But, yeah, that should about do it for this review of Batch 1 of Season 1 of Sonic Prime. So, yeah, what do you guys think of Season 1, by the way? Well, Batch 1 even, of Season 1. Said it so many damn times, man. Like, goddamn. But yeah, what do you guys think of Sonic Prime so far? Are you enjoying it? And what do you think of Sonic's character? Very interested to hear your thoughts on that, because it's been a bit of a divisive topic in the community recently. Well, at least on Twitter anyways, so yeah. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially that last one. Don't forget to become unleashed. Pressing that join button down below. Remember, it's not necessary. And I'll see you all next time. Peace!